What is up, everybody? Today I want to talk about how taking a break can actually make you smarter and more productive. That does sound counterintuitive because normally if I were to come up with a list of what I need to do to become more productive or more smarter, I'd probably be thinking like what kind of topics I need to learn, what books I need to order, what should I be studying, what side hustles should I be doing in my spare time, and sort of along those type of studying related pursuits or knowledge accumulation and upskilling side projects for project-based learning. However, we just finished a 4-day long weekend here in Australia. So it's Easter Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then Easter Monday. And I feel like through doing nothing, through stepping back and taking some time off, had a few experiences and a few insights that they actually look like they're going to make me more productive this month. So if you're anything like me and you've got the tendency to try to be as productive as possible, to be upskilling, be uplearning, and doing all that kind of stuff all the time, then this video is for you because it sounds quite counterintuitive. It might feel inappropriate at times to take a break, to get rest, but I think if you know the logical reasons to, then it's just one more reason to do the wholesome thing and learn to take a step back and rest, right? So the first way is that taking time off, it actually gives us some space to consciously or unconsciously, because I was doing it unconsciously this time, like as in like unintentionally, but it was sort of happening in my mind. So it gives us the space to tweak and adjust our direction, where we're heading with our goals and what deadlines we're trying to hit. So I was working pretty intently on getting the pre-launch of an online course I'm making. And the goal was to focus on all the marketing and then validate that people actually want to buy it before actually filming the course content. These thoughts were actually occurring to me when I was meditating. I was thinking that if I approached things that way, like do the marketing first, see if people want to buy for the pre-launch, commit to a date, and then scramble and try to film everything to meet that date that I promised, I foresaw that approach biting me in the ass because I feel like I was going to get overwhelmed and anxious, and I have a tendency to underestimate how long everything takes. If I didn't have that time to reflect, I think I would have just kept going out of momentum. So now I feel a bit more at ease, but what I'm going to do first is I want to film about like 30 or 40% of the course, which I don't think needs validation. It remains to be seen whether people actually think it's good or not, but there's a portion of the course which I reckon I'm pretty confident on, and it's sort of the bit which has a bit of uncertainty with how long it's going to take as well. I'm going to pivot from the marketing side to actually film the course, and once like 30-40% of it's done, I'm going to switch back and market it in pre-launch. I sort of thought to myself, if I get this bit done first, it's much safer, but it's going to prevent me freaking out and causing a snowball effect and making me compromise on other things to sort of get this one thing done that I'd promised, etc., etc., etc. But I feel like since I had nothing prepared and I don't have that much experience doing this, it's a smarter decision to film part of it first, right? So that's the first way I feel like it's helping me make smarter decisions. Now the second way is when you take a proper rest and you take some step back, like you don't feel obliged to do the habits that you normally do related to work, right? If you're taking a proper break off, then it gives you space for experimentation, and it gives you space to try things that you might have been putting off until later because they weren't like a priority and they weren't actually urgent, but it could actually be high leverage. Like an example that happened yesterday was I've been telling myself that my main editing software for these YouTube videos is Descript, and the reason is it's so quick and it's so efficient. And I'm like, maybe in like a couple of weeks time when I have space, when I take a break of doing the daily uploads, etc., I'm actually going to look at like another editing software, DaVinci Resolve, which is a bit more specialized, etc., etc. But because I didn't have my normal workload, because I was more relaxed, went for a walk that day, hadn't done any work for like 4 days almost, that night I had more of an inclination, or I was inspired to actually just try that out right away. And I mean, that was yesterday's video with a bit of B-roll in it. So I admit it was a bit shoddy. It's very amateur, obviously, but I don't know, I feel very good about it. Like, I did it early. I'm quite confident getting back into it for the next, like, quite often now. It wasn't that hard. Went from 0 to 1. There's a barrier if you haven't done something enough to be comfortable with it. Maybe it is a psychological barrier then, but then I was telling myself, when I finally get space and I take a week off kind of thing, then I'm going to look in it. And then when you think about it that way, like, I was like, I'll look into it and then I'll optimize things and I'll make sure I improve my process. But when you think about it that way, you sort of like make it out to be like a very big task and like an actual project. But then if you just have space to just try something and experiment with it a bit, in my case yesterday, I realized it wasn't a big deal. So I don't know what to say about that, but maybe expect more B-roll and the editing to get a bit more interesting in the next, let's say 2 months. We'll see how that goes. And the third benefit is when you take a break, when you've been working on some problems, your current approach to the problem is sort of biased to how you've been approaching it, just due to momentum and how you see things. And when you take a break, you naturally get more detached from the problem itself, but also from the approach, right? So not only does that give more space for new solutions to come in or different approaches and potentially more effective approaches. I think that's why a lot of, like, for programmers like me, sometimes the solutions just come when we force to take a break because we're too tired, then we go for a walk and suddenly you come up with these cool approaches that you never would have come up with. But I don't think it's that good to take the break when you feel like you can't go any further and you're forced to take a break. So in this case, there was a long weekend and I was like, ironically makes things even better, right? It helps you detach from the problem itself, it helps you detach from your approaches. Therefore, there's potential for new solutions to arise. And when you do come back to it, you're also fresh, right? Which is basically today, right? This is 4 days without work. Anyway, if you made it this far on this ramble, then that's pretty cool, I think. And if you enjoyed this video, it was either the first or second video on this channel. I think it was the first video on this channel where I talk about the concept of Slack. Anyway, thanks for watching. Catch you guys on the flip side and goodbye for now.